please subscribe and give thumbs up. Enjoy. WWE NXT results. The 11th of January 2022, Pretty Deadly vs Bron Breakker and Lee. First match, Grayson Waller vs R-Truth. Waller talks smack to Truth after the bell rings. Truth slaps Waller in the face. Waller kicks Truth in the gut. Waller with clubbing blows to Truth's back. Waller with Muay Thai knee strikes. Waller backs Truth into the ropes. Waller rakes the eyes of Truth. Waller whips Truth across the ring. Truth holds onto the ropes. Truth decks Waller with a back elbow smash. Truth clotheslines Waller. Waller scores a right jab. Truth ducks a clothesline from Waller. Truth with two atomic drops. Truth with a side headlock takeover. Waller stomps on the left foot of Truth. Waller applies a side headlock. Truth whips Waller across the ring. Waller drops Truth with a shoulder tackle. Waller mocks John Cena. Truth trips Waller. Truth with a side headlock takeover. Waller with heavy body shots. Waller sends Truth into the ropes. Truth with a shoulder tackle. Waller leapfrogs over Truth. Truth with a tilt-to-whirl head scissors takeover. Truth with a hip toss. Truth plays to the crowd. Waller drops Truth with the SDO. Truth punches Waller. Truth lands the somersault plunger. Truth starts receiving medical attention on the outside. The referee was forced to call off the match. Winner, Grayson Waller via referee stoppage. Second match, Thea Hale W, Andre Chase and Duke Hudson vs Kiana James. Collar and elbow tie up. James drives her knee into the midsection of Hale. James hammers down on the left shoulder of Hale. James applies an arm bar. James slams the left shoulder of Hale on the top rope. James with a forearm smash. James talks smack to Hale. James with a swinging arm wringer. James sends Hale shoulder first into the turnbuckles. Hale with a knee lift. Hale with forearm shivers. James buries her knee into the midsection of Hale. James hyperextends the left shoulder of Hale. James stomps on Hale's chest. James hooks the outside leg for a 2 count. James applies a top wrist lock. James drives her knee into the left shoulder of Hale. James is putting the boots to Hale. James pulls Hale down to the mat. James reapplies the top wrist lock. Hale with a deep armed drag. Hale blocks a boot from James. Hale with a short arm clothesline. Hale scores 2 elbow knockdowns. Hale with a corner splash. James shoves Hale. Hale with a leaping back elbow smash. Hale drop kicks the left knee of James. Hale with a somersault neck breaker. James denies the flying crossbody block. James goes for the fillaway slam, but Hale counters with an inside cradle for a 2 count. James kicks Hale in the gut. James pulls Hale down to the mat. James hits the twisting flatliner for a 2 count. Hudson puts Hale's foot on the bottom rope. Andre Chase tells Hudson to leave the ringside area. James uses the middle rope as a weapon. James connects with another twisting flatliner to pick up the victory. Winner, Kiana James via pinfall. Kiana James' assistant interrupted Josh Briggs, Brooks Jensen and Fallon Henley's backstage interview with Mackenzie Mitchell. Bron Breakker had a backstage confrontation with Robert Stone. Third match, Odyssey Jones vs Javier Bernal. Bernal sidesteps the collar and elbow tie up. Bernal applies a bear hug. Jones punches Bernal in the back. Jones applies a wrist lock. Jones drops Bernal with a shoulder tackle. Jones body slams Bernal. Bernal chops Jones. Jones launches Bernal to the corner. Jones slaps Bernal in the chest. Jones clotheslines Bernal. Jones with 3 rolling splashes. Bernal sidesteps Jones into the turnbuckles. Bernal with clubbing blows to Jones' back. Bernal transitions into a corner mount. Bernal fights out of the electric chair position. Bernal dropkicks the left knee of Jones. Bernal delivers a chop block. Bernal DDTs the left knee of Jones. Bernal repeatedly drops his elbow on the left knee of Jones. Bernal applies a leg lock. Jones kicks Bernal out of the ring. Bernal applies the sleeper hold. Jones repeatedly backs Bernal into the turnbuckles. Bernal applies a side headlock. Jones sends Bernal back first into the canvas. Jones with two clotheslines. Jones whips Bernal across the ring. Bernal ducks a clothesline from Jones. Jones with a shoulder tackle. Jones with a running hip attack. Jones connects with the Bossman Slam to pick up the victory. Winner, Odyssey Jones via pinfall. Fourth match, Zoe Stark W, Nikita Leon vs Indy Hartwell. Collar and elbow tie up. Hartwell applies a side headlock. Stark whips Hartwell across the ring. Hartwell drops Stark with a shoulder tackle. Stark pops back on her feet. Stark shoves Hartwell. Strong lock up. Stark grabs a side headlock. Hartwell sends Stark into the ropes. Hartwell drops down on the canvas. Hartwell with another shoulder tackle. Hartwell applies a wrist lock. Hartwell clubbing shoulder blocks. Hartwell sends Stark to the corner. Stark decks Hartwell with a back elbow smash. Stark with clubbing shoulder blocks of her own. Stark with two overhand chops. Hartwell reverses out of the Irish whip from Stark. Stark dives over Hartwell. Stark ducks a clothesline from Hartwell. Stark with a springboard crossbody block for a 1 count. Stark applies a rear chin lock. Stark transitions into a side wrist lock. Stark repeatedly sends Hartwell back first into the turnbuckles. Stark with an arm wringer. Following a snapmare takeover, Hartwell avoids the sliding lariat. Hartwell blocks a boot from Stark. Hartwell with two body slams. Hartwell clotheslines Stark over the top rope. Stark starts losing her composure on the outside. Stark regains control of the match during the commercial break. Stark applies a rear chin lock. Forearm exchange. Hartwell kicks Stark in the gut. Hartwell hammers down on the back of Stark's neck. Hartwell scores a right jab. Hartwell uppercuts Stark in the ropes. Hartwell drops Stark with the big boot for a 2 count. Stark blocks the vertical suplex. Stark clotheslines Hartwell. Stark with a forearm smash. Stark with a discus back elbow smash. Stark thrust kicks the left knee of Hartwell. Stark with a sliding knee strike for a 2 count. Stark with a running elbow smash. Hartwell launches Stark over the top rope. Stark slams Hartwell's head on the top turnbuckle pad. Stark sweeps out the legs of Hartwell. Stark with a springboard twisting senton for a 2 count. Stark repeatedly stomps on Hartwell's chest. Leon tells Stark to calm down. Hartwell denies the go. Hartwell applies a wrist lock. Hartwell with 3 short arm clotheslines. Stark dodges the big boot. Stark super kicks Hartwell. Stark dumps Hartwell out of the ring. Stark repeatedly slams Hartwell's head on the announce table. Stark is becoming unhinged. Stark goes for a power bomb, but Hartwell blocks it. Stark rolls Hartwell back into the ring. Hartwell delivers the big boot. Hartwell connects with the sliding lariat to pick up the victory. Winner, Indy Hartwell via pinfall. Sanga had backstage conversation with Veerman and Valentina Feroz. Caden Carter and Casey Catanzaro poked fun at Zoe Stark and Indy Hartwell ahead of their NXT Tag Team title match next week. Tony D'Angelo and Channing Lorenzo had a backstage run-in with Elektra Lopez. Lopez says that she's much more dangerous alone. Next week on NXT, Joe Gacy will battle Cameron Grimes. Damon Kemp will collide with Brutus Creed. Fifth match, Cora Jade vs Valentina Feroz. Jade shoves for Oz after the bell rings. Jade pie faces Feroz. Collar and elbow tie up. For Oz runs Jade into the ropes. Jade with a back heel trip. For Oz with 2 arm drags. For Oz follows that with a running meteora. For Oz drop kicks Jade to the floor. For Oz peppers Jade with forearms. For Oz slams Jade's head on the ring apron. For Oz rolls Jade back into the ring. Jade kicks for Oz off the apron. Jade repeatedly slams for Oz's head on the apron. Jade repeatedly stomps on for Oz's chest for a 2 count. Jade with clubbing blows to for Oz's back. Jade with forearm shivers. Jade sends for Oz face first into the middle rope. Jade with a running elbow smash for a 2 count. Jade stomps on for Oz's back. Jade puts her knee on the back of for Oz's neck. Jade whips for Oz across the ring. Jade goes for another running elbow smash, but for Oz ducks out of the way. For Oz with an inside cradle for a 2 count. Jade drops for Oz with a running clothesline. Jade sends for Oz to the corner. For Oz with 2 desperation boots. For Oz goes for a flying crossbody block, but Jade ducks out of the way. Jade with a running senton splash. Jade connects with the DDT to pick up the victory. After the match, Jade talks smack to for Oz. Wendy Chu storms into the ring to make the save. Chu with forearm shivers. Chu starts swinging the kendo stick like a banshee. Jade retreats to the outside. Winner, Cora Jade via pinfall. 6th match, Pretty Deadly, C, vs Bron Breakker and Lee for the WWE NXT Tag Team Championship. Kit Wilson and Lee will start things off. Collar and elbow tie up. Wrist lock exchange. Lee applies a side headlock. Wilson with heavy body shots. Wilson whips Lee across the ring. Lee with 2 quick roll-ups. Lee shows off his athleticism. Wilson tags in Prince. Lee with a deep-armed drag. Lee applies an arm bar. Lee grabs a side wrist lock. Breakker tags himself in. Double Irish whip. Lee with a drop toe hold. Breakker with a standing moonsault. Prince calls under Breakker's legs. Prince slaps Breakker in the face. Prince dives over Breakker. Prince kicks Breakker in the gut. Prince with clubbing blows to Breakker's back. Breakker with a back body drop. Prince reverses out of the Irish whip from Breakker. Breakker ducks under 2 clotheslines from Prince. Breakker clotheslines Prince. Breakker tags in Lee. Lee punches Prince in the back. Lee applies a wrist lock. Lee with an arm wringer. Prince punches Lee in the ribs. Lee with a straight right hand. Prince reverses out of the Irish whip from Lee. Prince sends Lee chest first into the canvas. Prince tags in Wilson. Pretty Deadly goes for a double suplex, but Breakker gets in the way. Stereo haymakers. Stereo Frankensteiners. Breakker and Lee knocks Pretty Deadly off the ring apron. Pretty Deadly regroups on the outside. Lee ducks a clothesline from Wilson. Wilson applies a wrist lock. Wilson with a straight right hand. Wilson tags in Prince. Prince kicks Lee in the gut. Prince applies a wrist lock. Prince drops his weight on the left shoulder of Lee. Prince sends Lee to the corner. Lee dives over Prince. Lee with a deep-armed drag. Lee applies an arm bar. Breakker tags himself in. Double Irish whip. Double elbow knockdown. Lee with a standing shooting star press. Breakker goes into the lateral press for a 2 count. Breakker applies a wrist lock. Breakker tags in Lee. Lee with a belly to back suplex for a 2 count. Lee with a side headlock takeover. Prince with the Irish whip. Lee sidesteps Prince into the turnbuckles. Lee with a slingshot hurricane runner. Lee rolls Prince over for a 2 count. Lee ducks a clothesline from Prince. Lee dropkicks Prince. Standing switch exchange. Prince with the O'Connor roll for a 2 count. Wilson tags himself in. Lee with a wrecking ball dropkick. Wilson attacks Lee from behind. Wilson dumps Lee face first on the apron. Wilson rolls Lee back into the ring. Wilson hooks the outside leg for a 2 count. Wilson with a series of uppercuts. Wilson with a straight right hand. Wilson drops Lee with a neck breaker for a 2 count. Haymaker exchange. Prince drives Lee back first into the turnbuckles. Prince tags himself in. Prince with a leaping back elbow smash. Prince uppercuts Lee. Prince repeatedly stomps on Lee's chest. Lee ducks a clothesline from Prince. Prince body slams Lee. Lee avoids 2 elbow drops. Lee ducks a clothesline from Wilson. Lee desperately scrambles away from Pretty Deadly. Lee tags in Breaker. Breaker clotheslines Prince. Breaker with 2 shoulder tackles. Breaker with the spine buster. Breaker with a corner clothesline to Prince. Breaker follows that with the flying bulldog. Breaker with a double suplex. Breaker pops back on his feet. Breaker tags in Lee. Assisted crossbody block. Lee super kicks Wilson. Breaker throws Prince back into the ring. Carmelo Hayes shoves Lee off the top turnbuckle behind the referee's back. Wilson connects with the rolling crucifix to pick up the victory. After the match, Lee lands the somersault plunger. Lee and Hayes start sprawling towards the backstage area. Von Wagner drops Breaker with the big boot. Wagner stands tall over Breaker. We get a shot backstage of Jordan Devlin telling Apollo Crews that it's going to be pretty hard being the man around here as the show goes off the air. Winner, still WWE NXT Tag Team Champions, Pretty Deadly via pinfall. Please subscribe and give thumbs up. Thank you.